Hey everybody, and welcome to your trip tips for Backbone State Park. This is an extension of the trip guide through outdoor adventures made easy. The goal of this video is to give you some extra content and extra tips that might be supplemental to the trip guide itself. So today for this video, we're going to focus on the what to do, the nearby stops, and the what to pack for those adventures. There are additional videos for what to pack for your camping trip, what to pack in your backpack as you're doing day hikes with your kids, and what to pack in your first aid kit. So for now, we're going to go ahead and hop into the what to do. And as part of that, for each different adventure, we're also going to include the specifics of what you might need to pack for that adventure. So let's hop in with our number one suggestion, the hike at Backbone Trail. All right, the Backbone Trail. This is one of our absolute favorite hikes in the entire state of Iowa. But there are some things that you need to know before you hit the trail. The number one thing is that this trail can be dangerous, and you're about to see why. So when we go to the Backbone Trail, we always park right off the road near the east gate. So you come in from the east gate, and then you're going to see just a small parking area right off of the road. In order to get to the actual trailhead, you have to cross the road, so make sure that you have a close eye on your kids, especially because visibility is not great as drivers are coming up a hill and around a turn. So keep a close eye on your kids, and then you'll get to the actual trailhead itself. The trail is shaped like a needle, and so you're going to walk up the straight part here, and there is one area that really narrows down and pinches, and I would say it's like probably 5 to 6 feet wide the trail is, and on both sides of the trail is a very steep drop off. So really keep a close eye on your kids. This is not a stroller friendly trail, so don't even try and attempt it. But it is worth the reward if you can trust your kids to stay close and be safe. So after doing the kind of tip of the needle, you get up here to the head, right? And we always hike it in a clockwise motion. You don't have to, but that's what we like to do. And so as you're hiking it in that clockwise motion, there's all these little fun little like jetties that you can kind of climb out and explore, little rocky areas. You could spend probably almost an hour just going down in these little rocky areas, climbing, exploring, then walking back up to the trail, going a little farther, climbing out, exploring another area, and coming back in. So this can take up a lot of time. Our kids love it, just that free exploration time as we are still keeping a close eye on them. As you continue around the loop of the trail, it actually just kind of becomes a little bit more calm and not quite as rocky up here. You're just up on the ridge top. It's a really beautiful forested trail. As you come back and you're about like 3/4 of the way done, there is an option to hike down from the ridge on what I would call like a deer path trail. So this is optional. I would recommend this for the adventurous ones, but if you're not feeling adventurous, just stay on the main path and then you can hike back. But if you are feeling adventurous, this is actually our favorite part of the Backbone Trail and our Backbone trip is the Fat Man Squeeze. So what happens is you hike down the hill here and you're actually climbing, kind of walking through several different narrow slots or canyon type fields. And so you're walking through them, it's good, and then it opens back up, walking through them again, and then you get to the final one. And there's actually just a small opening that you have to crawl through. And so you kind of climb through that, and then you're going up the hill, and you're almost done, you're almost out, and there's one big boulder that's in the middle of this slot that you have to climb up and over. And so for our kids, we kind of let them climb it. Sometimes we have to boost them to help them a little bit. It's really not a problem until you get to the last person because there is no one left to boost you. So make sure that your last person is athletic enough, right, to kind of boost themselves up and over. And then when you get done, you actually climb up just a little bit more and you're right here on the trail, and then you just finish your hike out. So that's one of our favorites. It's a bonus, a little extra. We love it, and our kids really enjoyed kind of the challenge of climbing through that. The Backbone Trail typically takes us, I would say, somewhere between an hour and a half and 2 hours. One time we hiked it just as the sun was setting. We were kind of wrapping up, and it was really cool to see the sunset from that high ridge top there. What to pack for this? I would pack your backpack And I would also suggest sturdy hiking shoes. Number 2 is the Backbone Cave. If your family is new to caving or splunking, which is the same thing, then I highly recommend this cave. Now, if you are a seasoned caver or you're really into it, then I would suggest that you check out our video on Maquoketa Cave State Park, because this is a splunker's dream come true. But back to Backbone. From the parking lot, it's a really clear defined gravel lime chip trail up to the stone steps from the CCC that you can climb up to the actual mouth of the cave. From the mouth, the ceiling lowers down and it actually turns to the left, where kids can normally just kind of hunch over and walk, but I either do a nice duck waddle or I end up crawling. And then the cave goes back for quite a ways. And it actually looks like it ends there, but if you get all the way to the back, it turns to the right and it opens up where you can stand back in this cave. And that's what's so great about it, is even though it kind of narrows down for a little bit, it opens up and kids get kind of this feeling of accomplishment when they can stand back up. It's not super scary. And then they can just turn around and head back out. Couple things. When we go to Maquoketa Caves, we bring all the gear, including bike helmets, so we don't hit our head on the ceiling of the cave. For this cave, if you have them in your vehicle or already packed them because you have a biking adventure as part of your Backbone trip, I would say go ahead and wear them. But if you don't have them packed, I wouldn't pack them just for this. I would pack closed-toed shoes and a headlamp or flashlight. Number 3 is Richmond Springs. This would be a fantastic place to have a picnic lunch if it times out well with you and your family. From the parking lot, which is near the north entrance or north gate, you'll cross a small wooden bridge and you'll walk through a grassy area to the back corner of the grassy field. And there are 2 pools of water which are spring fed from Richmond Springs. There's a stone bridge that kind of divides the 2 pools that you can walk across. What I like to do with the kids is I challenge them to see how long they can keep their feet in the cold water. And here's how we do that. The water kind of trickles in a very small waterfall, Iowa waterfall, into the trout stream. And so what we do is we have the kids wear water shoes and try and keep their feet into that cold water as long as they can, and have a little competition who can do that the longest. So for that area, I would recommend packing water shoes and quick dry towels if you plan on getting your feet wet. Number 4 is a creek hike or creek stomp. Of all of the adventures that we go on, my kids normally say that their favorites are playing at the playground and going on creek hikes. So don't underestimate how much fun this can be. At Backbone, what we like to do is park at the north or south flat shelter parking lots, and then we just hike toward the creek and find a fun area either to just kind of camp out and play in that area, or we actually hike the creek and see what we can find. It just depends on what kind of mood the kids are in. For this, I would just remind you that water levels can fluctuate, so I would never promise our kids that we get to do a creek hike until I actually see the water levels. If the water levels are too high, I would definitely not do a creek hike just for safety. What we like to pack, clothes that can get wet, or we wear swimsuits. For young children, life jackets are a good idea to bring along just in case there's a pocket of water that's deeper than you thought. Sand toys if you think the kids will explore and play in the sand. A water net to see if they could catch any critters. Water shoes are very important when you're going on a creek hike. Here are some other areas of the park that you might want to check out if you have time. The boathouse or the beach. This area is really neat. Although it's technically called the boathouse, my kids call it the castle because it looks like a castle. And during the summer months, they actually rent out kayaks, canoes, and paddleboards from that area. We typically avoid swimming at the beach because of the high likelihood that there's an E. coli or water quality issue. There is a small playground in that area that you might want to check out as well. The CCC Museum. The CCC, or the Civilian Conservation Corps, was a group of young men mostly active during the 1930s that did extensive work in lots of different areas, but also including our state and our national parks. This museum highlights that work and has been awesome for our kids to draw connections from that museum to all the different CCC projects that they spot in our state and our national parks. This is open on weekends, Memorial Day through Labor Day. Balance Rock. Balance Rock is really just a short little pit stop, but it is worth seeing. We typically just pull off while we're driving through that area. Sometimes we get out, stretch our legs, and just walk near it, but you can't hike up to it. It's not like you can get really close to it. So it's just kind of an interesting thing to look at. Nearby to Balance Rock is also the old trout hatchery, which used to be fed from Richmond Springs. And so we check out that area while we're there as well. So two little quick pit stops, I would call it, would be Balance Rock and the old trout hatchery. One of the reasons that we love Backbone State Park so much is it can be the hub for so many nearby adventures. So for us, our number one recommendation for a nearby stop is the Manchester Whitewater Park. This is so fun. So there used to be a Lowhead Dam in downtown Manchester that they actually took out because it was so dangerous. And in its place, they put 6 different water features. These are designed to be safe so there isn't a dangerous undertow current to it. And it allows people to use this area in a safe way. Now, we've done multiple different things when going to this whitewater park. We used to bring recreational kayaks. We switched to just bringing inflatable tubes because they're easy to pack, they don't take up a lot of room, and they're light to carry up. And the kids just seem to like that experience a little bit better. The other great thing is at the shelter there's a free air compressor, so you don't need to bring one and you don't need to blow up your tube. That's already there for you. We grab our tubes and then we float through the 6 different water features. And then at the end, there's a small beach. You can get out there and then walk on the cement path up to the beginning and then just do it as many times as you want. Now, my son and I, we are adventure junkies and we could just do it all day. We just love it. My daughters, they went a few times and then that was enough for them. Thankfully, there's that nice shelter and there's also a small playscape nearby. So they opted for an early lunch, played at the playground while we went a few more times. So the city of Manchester has a great shelter there that you could have lunch. It also has 4 individual bathrooms. So if you need to change, you can do that with your family, which is super nice. And they also have an outdoor shower. So if you need to clean up a little bit from the river, you can do that as well. What to pack? Inflatable tubes, swimsuits or clothes that can get wet, life jackets, water shoes, waterproof phone case, helmets, and in the vehicle, we like to have towels, dry clothes, snacks, and water. Another nearby stop to check out is Brush Creek Canyon State Preserve. This is a really cool hidden gem, but it is a little bit more rustic. We didn't have any trouble driving there, but I have seen reports that the gravel road can get rough, so keep that in mind. When you get there, there's a small deer path type trail that leads back to an old CCC shelter. From there, what we chose to do is just hike down to Brush Creek, and we ended up basically just doing a creek hike. If you go in the summertime, I would recommend that you wear long pants so that you can be mindful of the poison ivy and the stinging nettle. Brush Creek Canyon State Preserve is pretty similar to Bixby State Preserve, although Bixby State Preserve is one of the most unique areas in the entire state of Iowa. Bixby actually had a Pleistocene snail that was once believed to be extinct that was found, and a population of these snails living at Bixby State Preserve, which I just think is pretty cool. It's rustic and it's off the beaten path for sure. Very similar to Brush Creek Canyon. So this is another one with not very many regularly maintained trails. So if you're going in the summer, long pants would be a good idea. If you are coming from the south, there is a low water crossing that you have to cross to get to the parking lot. So if there have been a lot of recent rains, I would maybe go around and come from the north so you don't have to worry about that low water crossing. Otherwise, you can park in the parking lot there and explore the creek and the area there. The ice cave is gated off, but you can check out that area and some of the other neat geological features of the area. For both Bixby and Brush Creek Canyon State Preserve, here's what I would pack. Water shoes if you plan to do a creek hike, quick drying clothes, bug spray, and long pants. All of these nearby stops would be awesome additions to your adventure at Backbone State Park. So as far as the trip guide is concerned, we have covered what to do, the nearby stops, and what to pack. Don't forget those separate videos on what to pack if you're going camping, what to pack in your backpack for your day hike adventures, and what to pack in your first aid kit. The last page of the guide is just a map view of all of the areas that we've talked about today. I hope that this trip guide is super helpful for you and your family, and it allows you to feel comfortable and confident taking your family on an adventure. We are so excited that you and your family are planning a trip to Backbone State Park. You won't regret it. We hope that this trip guide and video helps create an outdoor adventure made easy.